Hey guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. Today's episode is advice before starting a medical billing and coding program. If you are brand new to my channel, welcome. I am Blue, I'm a medical coder. I have been a medical coder for over 10 years. My channel was created to share all the stories and the tips and the tricks about medical coding that I've experienced, and hopefully it will give you some better insight into being a medical coder. So if you want more, I hope that you'll hit that subscribe button. I hope you hit that like button, and at the end of this video helps you, I hope that you will share it. All right, so let's get started. All right, so you want to sign up for a medical billing and coding program. This episode was actually inspired by a viewer comment that I got. And basically, the viewer said that they were considering about signing up for a medical billing and coding program, but they don't think they're going to be able to make it. What advice did I have for them? So to me, if you haven't even given yourself a chance right out of the gate, you're not even in the program yet, and you're already thinking that you might not get through it, okay, it's time to take a step back. First of all, you can do anything that you set your mind to. Is this a lot? Yes. And maybe you've watched some of my videos and you've heard me say some of the things that I do, like give provider classes and do continuing education. And there's all of these other things that I do. You have to understand something. This channel that you just came across, I am a very detailed medical coder. What I do is unconventional when it comes to building relationships with my providers and giving them one-on-one education or doing provider classes. That is what I do. This is what makes me successful. This is why my clinics, orthopedics and podiatry, are two of the most top performing in my hospital because I care and I pay attention. That's why. So it may seem overwhelming to some people, but it shouldn't, okay? This is what I do. Not every medical coder is the same. The caliber of different medical coders is going to vary based on the person. But first I gotta say, if you're not even in the program yet and you're already thinking, hey, I don't think I can do this, give yourself a chance. Now I'm gonna be very blunt. Don't be negative, okay? Is it gonna seem like a lot? Heck yes, because you've never done it, number one. Number two, as medical coders, we have to know the things that doctors know while never having gone to medical school. That alone is a huge undertaking that you're asking somebody who either has just a high school diploma or a GED. And then you want to add other factors on top of that. Some of us get into medical billing and coding later in life. And I had been at a school for years when I got started with it. And there's people who start all the time that are in their 40s, in their 50s, and some in their 60s. I knew a lady, she was age 61, and she was able to get through the program. And she successfully got through it, and she's still a medical coder today. So I'm just saying, this field isn't just, closed for only certain types of people. If you are really interested in it, it takes a lot. And I share on my channel what it's all about. So it may seem like a lot, but don't let that scare you. Because if you let it scare you, there's going to be things about every single profession that can scare people. Okay? You have to really adopt the mentality of facing things head on. That is my biggest bit of advice before you start a medical coding program. Yes, it is going to be a lot of work. Will you have moments when you question your own knowledge? And if you can do it, of course. But it doesn't mean that you stop. This means that you say, okay, I'm going to face this even more so head on. Because the more you run away from things that scare you, the more they're always going to have that control to scare you. They're always going to have that power to say, well, even though it's just the idea of having this new career, it's enough to scare some people. It shouldn't be. You should be able to face this head on. If you decided that you wanted to do this and you really want to do this and you say, okay, I'm going to do it, stick with that. Look at the reasons why that you want to do anything, right? But why mostly do you want to get into this field? Are you getting into this field because of the pandemic and you had to change career fields? That happens to a lot of us where, we weren't really expecting to get into this kind of field, but it just sort of happened. That's one good thing that has come out of this pandemic is that a lot of people have really taken a step back and taken stock of their career or their job and said, you know, hey, I need to do something else. And now they're doing this. So medical billing and coding is a wonderful field. It is very intellectually stimulating. You get to learn every single day, and that is what I absolutely love. And the fact that you work with some of the most intelligent people that you will ever meet in your whole life is another bonus, because not everybody can have these levels of conversation either. Now, before you think, well, I don't know if I'm that smart, don't think that about yourself. Believe it or not, you're able to do anything that you want to do, and you're able to elevate your level of knowledge as well. So don't let that idea of, well, I don't think I'm smart enough, or I don't think I can do it, because yes, you can. Now, there may be people around you that may say, well, what are you doing that for? No, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do. No, don't listen to the naysayers, okay? Because there's going to be naysayers. When you're in the program, oh, yes, there will be naysayers. And please do not get into Facebook medical coding groups. I don't care who's running the Facebook medical coding group. There's always going to be negativity in those Facebook medical coding groups. I have yet to see one that was absolutely positive. Because yes, even though this is a very difficult field to get into, as far as like in the beginning when you're trying to find a job, it is not impossible. We all went through that. As far as like, it was hard and difficult to get a job in the beginning because everybody wants experience. And how do you get experience if no one will hire you? This is when you really have to, you know, really dig in and say, no, I am not going to give this up. I am going to keep pushing until I get a job. I'm going to do whatever it takes, as far as if I have to get other positions in order to get a job as a medical coder, but eventually I will. And it does happen. I've had a couple of viewers who they were going to school right around before the pandemic hit, and they finished, and they were out trying to find a job in the middle of this pandemic. Both of them have already gotten their jobs in the middle of a pandemic. This is their first job as a medical coder, and they were able to get work. So it took a lot of grit, and it takes a lot of just really digging your heels in and being stubborn and saying, yes, I am going to find a job. Yes, I am going to do this because this is what I want to do. I want to change my career field. I want to change my life. Medical coding is not a job. It is a career. There is a difference between job and career. Now, career is something that you're going to invest yourself in. A job is where you go to 9 to 5, right? Career, you're going to learn, and you're going to invest in yourself to learn. That is what this business is all about. Health information management is critical. You want to talk about a most critical time right now. This is now, right? With all of the data and the statistics that we have to know for the pandemic and for everything else that's going on. Medical coders are behind the scenes right now. We're the ones that are looking at all this documentation, and we're the ones that are getting all these codes and reporting these codes. This is how they're getting that data. So that is something to keep in mind. This is a very serious field, and this is going to take serious people to do it. And the reason that I do my channel is because I want you guys to know that this is serious business. And don't let what I say scare you, because if it's that easy to scare you, you need to rethink your mentality about this whole thing. And you have to get a tougher skin. There's been comments on my videos where they say, well, I'm scared and I'm terrified. I am very blunt. When it comes to responding, I am very blunt. I have to be, because I'm not doing it to be mean. I'm not doing it to put you down. I'm doing it to toughen you guys up, because I think some need that. Now, I'm not going to be rude with you, but at the same time, I am going to tell you, this is a business. Now, you need to get on board or do something else, because it's not for everybody. It really isn't. But if you're committed and you're invested in yourself and in this, doing this and learning it, you will have a successful career. But you have to be willing to do that. And you have to be willing to say, oh, okay, well, I can take some creative direction from somebody that is basically a stranger and say, okay, well, she's not doing it to say, well, you know, trying to be mean to me. She's trying to do it to help me. Because if I'm trying to give you advice, trust me, you don't want to learn that same lesson from a doctor, because these doctors, they have little to no patience for people that are very unsure or very timid. You need to be, okay, I need to be as alpha as I possibly can, because I'm going to be working with alpha personalities. That's another thing you got to know about this field. And people think, well, you know, all I'm going to be doing is just coding. No, it's not about just coding. Eventually, if you want to do better and you want to do more in your career, you're going to have some interaction with these providers. That's where you got to break out of that shell. And everybody has the ability to be able to break out of their shell. Believe it or not, I am a very shy person. Believe it or not. I know on these videos I'm like, you know, very vibrant and I and I talk and things like that. But this is because I'm passionate about this field. But this passion did not happen overnight. Okay, I will say that too. I didn't really start getting this way until 2014. And yes, I've always been very good at my work, but it wasn't until 2014 that that aha moment happened. And all of a sudden, this passion just ignited for what I do. And now I truly do get it. So when you think about it, you know, think about this, guys. I work 40 hours a week doing medical coding. I come on here with you guys and I share all my stories and I share all these tips and tricks and everything else about the field, because I want you guys to know what I have been through. Maybe this will help you in some way, because I didn't have this coming up. I didn't have all of this other stuff, you know, these resources to help me be a better coder without having to do my own homework. So I did a lot of the homework. I read books about how to talk to people and be more assertive, you know, and be able to express myself better. And that was what I had to do. So this took time. This was just building. Yes. Does it seem natural? Of course, it's natural now, but it wasn't in the beginning. So if you are like, well, I'm scared, don't be scared, guys. You have nothing to be afraid of, okay? Just, if you want to do it, all right? And that's what I have to say about, about this. Also, I will say that medical terminology scares a lot of people in the beginning too, because it's very daunting. But I will say this, because I said it on a couple of videos ago, but I think I need to keep repeating it. Medical terminology, the best way to learn medical terminology is not to remember all the words. You're going to study the prefixes, suffixes, and root words. Why? Because then you can piece the word together. And that way, if you know the little parts of the word, when you blend them together, it'll make more sense. You can also use your medical dictionary. No one's going to expect you to know all of these words off the top of your head. But learning medical coding is like learning a new language. I will say that. It's not something that you can learn in just a few days or in a couple of months or in 4 months. It's going to take some time. You can get your basics and your foundation in relatively comfortable within 9 months. Okay, and that is a reasonable way to look at it. But if you're trying to cram in a bunch of stuff all at one time, yeah, that would be scary, because you're trying to force yourself to get all of this knowledge in a very short amount of time. And of course, you might be frustrated, but always choose a program to learn medical coding at a pace that is comfortable for you. If you're trying to go at somebody else's pace and breakneck speed, don't do that to yourself, because you'll just burn out and you won't want to do this. And you're going to be like, well, this was just a waste of time. When actually, if you had approached it another way, like a more reasonable way, you may enjoy it. So I want you guys to think about these things before you sign up for these programs, and just do your research and be careful and make sure that you're being trained with the American Health Information Management Association or the American Academy of Professional Coders. I will leave both links to both websites down in the description box below. These are the two major medical coding association powerhouses. These are who you have to be certified through if you want to be a medical coder, okay? There's other companies out there that nobody looks for, okay? So if you're taking a program with one that is not one I just said, HEMA or AAPC, then reconsider. please do your research, okay? Because there's very expensive mistakes that can happen if you're not careful. And as far as like getting the most for your money, these medical coding classes are not cheap. And even the cheapest ones are really still expensive. So I always recommend if you're looking into doing this, go directly to the associations themselves. Their online medical coding programs are a fraction of the cost versus a trade school, because you never know what kind of training you're going to get from a trade school. I went to a trade school and they literally sat me in front of a computer and said, here, learn. And there was nobody to teach me, and I learned it all on my own. So just something to know. But yes, you're going to go through those times. You're going to question yourself, but it's okay. Just keep going. Whatever you do, it's okay to sit there and wonder and but just keep going. Because if you stop, you're always going to stop. Get comfortable with those uncomfortable feelings and keep going. That is my biggest advice to you, is to keep going. And I'm telling you guys, I do the real talk, because I think that it's important not to give people just a sugar-coated version of this. There's a lot of people that will give you the sugar-coated version of medical coding, or they'll say that it's a scam, it's no good, because they couldn't get a job. There's a myriad of reasons why people can't get jobs. A lot. If they can't pass a background check, or if they've had something, if they can't pass their pre-assessment tests for their employers, there's a bunch of different reasons why. Don't put yourself in the same boat as everybody else. You are unique and you are different, okay? So make sure that you are doing your studying, follow the program, don't try to run ahead, all right? If you're in a program, you follow that program. Because I've seen people try to run ahead and they try to say, well, I haven't started the program yet, but I want to know what exam prep books do I need. Bro, slow down. Do the first thing first. Do you know your medical terminology? Well, not yet, but nope. Don't even think about that exam prep book. You need to work on that medical terminology first, because that coding is never going to make sense to you if you don't understand that medical terminology. I'm just saying, okay? But it is possible. Anything is possible. And if you start to say, well, I'm terrified and I'm scared, stop it. Just stop it, because you're never going to do anything if you let that fear take over. Fear robs so many people from so much potential and being able to do so much, because they just immediately freeze and they say, well, I can't do it. I can't do it. Why can't you do it? Is it written somewhere that you can't do something because you want to do it? Well, you don't understand. I've got kids. Well, I've seen parents do this all the time. And you know what? Your kids are going to watch what you do. So if they see you start something and then stop, they're going to see that that's okay. Now, I'm just saying, I know I may have touched a nerve for some people, but I need you guys to see what your kids are seeing you do, they're going to do. I know you want the best for them. I know you want them to do well. They need to see you doing that same thing. I'm scared, but you know what? I'm going to face this head on. I'm going to just keep doing it. I'm going to show up every day to these classes. I'm going to be online. I'm going to be disciplined, because this is what I need to do now. Because at the end of the day, being in medical coding school is just temporary. It is literally just temporary. A reasonable program will run you anywhere from 9 to 18 or 16 or 18 months, okay? That's a reasonable program. Some people make it shorter, and some people can get through that shorter. But don't try to go through those really short programs unless you've already had background in anatomy, physiology, medical terminology. If you've got that down, then yeah, you probably could learn it a little bit quicker because you've got your basics down. But if you come in from ground zero, then you need to take that time to get those right building blocks. I came in with no knowledge about medical at all. I wanted to be an attorney. That was what my life was going to be. I was going to be an attorney, so I was just reading, always writing. That was what I was going to do. That was my life path. But life said, oh, no. We've got something else in store for you. The exciting world of medical coding. And there were people like, really, Blue? It's exciting. It's boring. No, it's not. anything can be boring, I guess, if that's the way that you look at it. You know, to me, I look at it as fascinating. You know, I meet all kinds of people, and I meet these intelligent people that they just communicate differently. And I've learned so much from them, just being around them and listening to them and things. And knowing that I'm a part of their success because they are better documenters because of me. They know how to make their appropriate code selections because of me, because I've done that with them. And this is what they tell me. I'm not making this stuff up, you know? So this is what I love. This is what I enjoy. So when you watch my videos, and if you say, wow, oh my gosh, you do so much, it's because I really love what I do. And there's a difference. If you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. And that's where I am. Again, 40 hours a week at work. And then I come home and I do YouTube and I do Patreon. Sharing this message so that I can clear up misinformation out there. Because there's people who think that this is an easy field. It takes a lot of dedication. And then they get a rude awakening when they get out in the real world. So I want you guys to know what you're in for. It's a lot, but is it rewarding? Absolutely. Is it going to carry you through those times when you're just like, gosh, you know, I can, you know, should I be doing something else? Yeah. You know, you're going to be able to say, okay, well, I really, you know, this is fascinating, or this is interesting, or, you know, I can look at it this way. So anyway, just my thoughts, guys. But yes, this is a growing field. It's very rewarding. And one other thing before I wrap it up, if English is not your first language, all right, I'm going to say this, not to be mean, but you guys, if English is not your first language, a lot of people are asking me, English is not my first language, do you recommend this for me? If you understand what you're reading, that's good. Okay, you need that. But if your wording and the way that you write is not matching the fact that you're able to comprehend what you're reading, that can be a little bit of a problem. So make sure that you're continuing to study English, because if your English is good, you can always make it better. Same thing with your accent. If your accent is too thick, I recommend looking on YouTube. There's a lot of dialect videos where it helps you with your speech and trying to get your speech to come out clear. You can always do self-improvement when it comes to that. Watch television, watch movies, watch them in English, and repeat back the words. And that's how you're able to improve your speech and get more clear when you're speaking, okay? There was a movie in the 80s with Melanie Griffin, Working Girl, okay? She had a really thick Jersey accent, and she was trying to be able to correct that. So she did a lot of those talking tapes, and she was trying to get her words to come out more clearer. And that was her investing in herself so that she could be better when she's talking, and then she could be easily understood, because these providers do not have time or patience for people that they can't understand, verbally or written. So I'm just telling you guys, because I want you guys to know it's better somebody tells you than you learn from a provider. I'm just saying. So anyway, I'm going to wrap this one up, but I hope this was helpful, because it's going to be real talk, guys. That's what my channel is, real talk. All right, I'm going to wrap this one up. If you're a medical coder, a medical coding student, somebody curious about the fascinating world of medical coding, a provider, or a nurse, I invite you to like and subscribe and follow me on my journey in medical coding. I will see y'all next time. Bye.